Until 1948, Christians in Judea, Samaria, and Gaza represented 20% of the population. According to a 1947 British census, there were 28,000 Christians in East Jerusalem. In 1967, after 17 years of Jordanian occupation, they numbered only 11,000, while they now represent only 1.5% of the Palestinian population.
In 1967, the Arabs, they were, at the beginning, of course, they were fighting and they were attacking and everybody was victorious and that. And what they were saying was, after Saturday comes Sunday, which means that after we finish with the Israelis, it will be the turn of the Christians, which is Sunday. It's one sentence, but it says a lot.
اللهم يا ربنا ويا مولانا ويا سيدنا اهزم أعداءك وأعداء الدين في كل مكان اللهم عليك باليهود ومن هاودهم والنصارى ومن ناصرهم والشيوعيين ومن شايعهم اللهم أحصهم عددا واقتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم أحدا.
The causes of this exodus and gradual disappearance are many, but Arab propaganda, well orchestrated and often covered by the Western media, would have us believe that Israeli security measures are responsible.
In 1948, Christians in historic Palestine accounted for around 18% of the Arab population. Today, Christians make up roughly 2% of the population of the occupied West Bank. They face the same level of discrimination as Muslim Palestinians. A 2006 poll of people living in Bethlehem, for example, found 78% of Christian respondents said Israeli aggression and occupation, in their words, was the main cause of emigration.
Do they really have a choice, given the oppressive measures that terrorist organizations in charge of the Palestinian territories are capable of? In reality, when Palestinian Christians are guaranteed anonymity, or when they live in Israel and abroad, the truth comes out of their mouths.
We live in a small society that everybody knows everybody. So we have, well, Arab friends, or we go to the market, we have Arab grocery men, and this and that. So if you talk, you are afraid that your property will be attacked, your house will be attacked, so it's not safe. That's it.
The Christian life in the Palestinian areas is very, very hard. They are not free. They are persecuted.
Palestinians are stealing other Palestinians' lands, especially Christian lands. I have 4 uncles who lost half of their lands by people from Hebron. Just like that. They went to court to ask for the rights. The judge sadly was from Hebron. And he said, I can't wait to see the 4 of you dead in the fridges.
A church in Jerusalem was ransacked by Muslims. It is a living bread church. We tried to, again, bring it to the attention of world media. Not one outlet has taken up this persecution. It was not just a persecution, the whole church was ransacked. The people inside the church and also the pastor, they were beaten up because Muslims were the perpetrator. Media hush up.
Why is the world so obsessed with Palestinians? There are many theories about this, but I have a theory of my own. And I call it the theory of the inverted scapegoat. You see all over the world so many problems. You see wars in which hundreds of thousands of people are being killed and people are starving and all the rest. You can't do anything about most of these things. And so you find the inverted scapegoat is someone who you think, well, at least this problem we can solve. And then you pour all your efforts and money and everything else into solving that one little problem as an alternative to dealing with all the other problems in the world. So the Palestinians have been turned into an inverted scapegoat of this kind. They are the main ones. So while millions are dying or starving in Africa, all this money is poured onto the Palestinians.
the real reasons for the decline of the Christian population under Muslim rule are of several kinds. First, the permanent harassment of which they are victims, repeated rapes, forced conversions, Palestinian laws based on Sharia.
La situation dans les territoires palestiniens des chrétiens qui vivent, elle est semblable à celle dans les autres pays arabes. Les Palestiniens persécutent les chrétiens. Les chrétiens sont persécutés, mais une persécution silencieuse.
Persecution has made our church stronger. I've been beaten up and shoved in trash cans just for some simple reason, for discipling other young men who are from another faith. My father's been shot at 3 separate times for one simple reason: carrying that cross and walking every day and professing Jesus Christ and Him alone.
بروح اتعالج بالعيادة العسكرية بالشاطئ. اجا المسيحي، روح يا مسيحي، خلي الكنيسة تعالجك. ايوه نعم. هذا عيب. رايد من الشرطة بالزي العسكري، باني غسالة $100. غشني مخراج، غشني نصب عليا، ما صلحهاش. ايوه نعم ما صلحهاش. قال لي مضمونة 3 اشهر، ما صلحهاش، كذب عليا. بقول لي روح اتشك عليا بالعباس والنيابة. ايوه نعم. بقول لك شك عليا بالعباس والنيابة. بقولوا له روح يا مسيحي، خالد مطر رايد بالشرطة ممنوع تشك عليه. رفضوا مني شكاوي، ما رضيوش يستقبلوا مني شكاوي بالمرة.
The world has been shocked by the brutality of the Islamic State terror militia, especially as it has targeted the ancient Christian communities of Iraq and Syria. These radical jihadists have swept into Christian towns and villages and committed horrible atrocities. Christian men, women, and children have been hung, beheaded, and even crucified. And without someone coming to their rescue, they feel more and more abandoned. But to really understand the enormity of this ongoing tragedy, we need to go back to the birth of the Christian faith here in this region 2,000 years ago. And that story, of course, begins here in Jerusalem, where Jesus was crucified, buried, and resurrected, and here on Mount Zion in the upper room where the church was born in fire on the day of Pentecost.
Christians had been present in the Middle East for 2 millennia. After the Islamic conquest of 638, they, like the Jews, were subjected to the laws of dimitude, a status that made them third-class citizens with very limited rights and forced them to pay a racist tax reserved for non-Muslims called jizya.
Dhimmi, c'est une personne qui n'est pas musulmane, qui doit, pour survivre dans un pays arabe musulman, pour ne pas être tuée, il faut qu'elle paye des taxes. Ce taxe-là, il s'appelle jizya. Et les chrétiens ont été demandés pour payer le jizya. Ça nous rappelle Daesh, il y a quelques années, et en Irak et en Syrie, qui ont aussi à leur tour réclamé la jizya du chrétien qui habitait en Irak et en Syrie. Maintenant, ces Palestiniens, ils ont demandé la jizya pour terroriser les chrétiens, pour leur dire ce n'est pas votre pays.
My uncle was one of these Christians in Bethlehem community who had to pay this money. But sadly, after a while, him and other Christians started seeing these people who called themselves freedom fighters. I call them mafia. They used to stand next to Christian houses, shoot and launch rockets at Israel and run so that the response would come mainly upon Christian houses. So what my uncle done was to decide to stop giving them money. They accused him for being a traitor. They put him in jail. They had no evidence against him. They had to let him out of jail. But after a few days, They shot him in his heart in front of his house and killed him.
The status continued under the Ottoman Empire and is at the origin of the terrible conditions in which they live today.
This baby that she's holding in her arms, he speaks up. And what does he say? Allah tells us in the Quran, قَالَ إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ. قَالَ, he said, إِنِّي عَبْدُ اللَّهِ. Most definitely, without a doubt, I am the slave of Allah.
Jesus Christ was Jewish and he spoke Aramaic language, the language from the Talmud.
Islam doesn't want to replace only 14 million Jews and not only to replace, I don't know, 1 billion Christians, but all of the world is Islam.
Open Doors, a humanitarian association specializing in the defense of Christian rights, positions the persecution of non-Muslim Palestinians at a high level.
علمت الدنيا بأن المسلم بسم الله لا يقهر. يتحدوننا بالبيت الأبيض ونتحداهم بالصحوة والحجر الأسود. هم ليسوا أقوى من كسرى وقيصر، بل هم أدنى وأصغر وأجبن وأحقر. هم أشلاء من الصليبيين وخيبر.
On the 25th of April this year, residents of the Christian village of Jifna, near Ramallah, were attacked after a young woman filed a complaint against the son of a Fatah leader for fraud. Dozens of armed men ransacked the village. The Palestinian Authority has been careful not to intervene. On May 13th, vandals broke into a church in the Maronite community of Bethlehem and desecrated it. 3 days later, it was the turn of the Anglican Church in the village of Aboud. This type of incident is so frequent that an exhaustive list is impossible to establish. Muslims converted to Christianity are subjected to the worst anti-Christian abuses, and mere membership in a local church puts them at risk.
Dans la loi musulmane, un musulman, s'il se convertit à une autre religion, il s'appelle murtad et on a le droit de le tuer. C'est-à-dire le fait de se convertir à une autre religion, c'est très délicat et c'est très dangereux.
And can get sued by anyone in the Sharia courts and put in jail. Even later, if they sue us, they can take our property. That's by law, the constitution I'm talking about. The Sharia courts, it's well known in Jordan. Everything we own, our property, can be taken by the government just for being Christian converts.
هو يعاقب على هذا الفعل لأن فيه استهتار بهذا الدين، فيعاقب على هذا العمل كما لو سب الرسول أو سب الله جل وعلا أو كذا، فإنه يقتل لهذا الفعل وليس لأجل أن نغصبه على الإسلام. الإسلام يعني لا يحتاج ولا يريد يعني مرتزقة.
At the same time, the number of Christians living in Israel has increased from 34,000 in 1949 to 157,000 today.
As Christians, as priests from the Holy Land, we believe this is our Holy Land. Here born our Lord, we grew up here, our roots as Christians. All the world now is silent for what's happening now in the Middle East. The Christians killings, the Christians fled. Just now we are a strong country, and we must to be strong country because we have here terrorist organizations. So much, not one, not two. And I call all the Christians in Israel to come and to integrate into the Israeli society and to go to the army, not because we love war, we love to kill. This is not our goal. Of course, just because we want to support and to protect our home.
If the Christian world were to discover the reality behind the propaganda, there is no doubt that their opinion on the Palestinian Authority and its alleged tolerance towards minorities would change completely. Of course, like Arafat before him, Mahmoud Abbas acts every year to participate in Christmas ceremonies because the daily work of the Palestinian Authority and the media is to make Palestinians permanent victims of Israeli aggression.